Where will Olivia Vukosa play basketball next season? You're on the Hoop Scout.
Let's get it, let's get it. Let's get it, let's get it. Yeah. UConn, baby. Home of the champions. Let's go.
All right, we bring you into the Hoop Scout pod about Olivia Vukosa and her recruitment. But first, a message about the great Jim Calhoun. His new book, More Than a Game, is out today. I will have a QR code up that you can, it's a link to Amazon. You can go and buy it there. It's out now. It's not a pre-order. I think via his grandson, Sam Calhoun's account on X, they'll have a few signings where if you buy the book, you could probably go and get it by the great Jim Calhoun. I have mine here. So thank you to him and Dom Amori. Coach, you're always welcome to come on the program. We're going to go ahead and put that More Than a Game. There's the QR code now. You can click that link. It'll be up throughout the entire show. So you can definitely check that out and go support the greatest men's coach in UConn basketball history. And we're going to get into Olivia Vukosa's recruitment right now. All right. Welcome to the Hoops Cap Pod. Olivia Vukosa, where is she going to go? We're going to break this down from coaching power to campus culture and what will be ultimately her decision to come to UConn or the four other programs that are in the mix for her services. Let's talk about the first segment here, which is the coaching war between some of the best coaches to ever coach in the women's game. Let's start with, in my opinion, the favorite. I know I'm a homer. I know I cover UConn. Geno Auriemma is still the blueprint coming off his 12th national title. The history, the culture, the player development, it all speaks to itself. But what's interesting is how much Geno has evolved. He's still sharp. He's still demanding. He's still kind of a wise ass. But we're seeing a kinder, more gentler Geno. The mic'd up clips show it, where he's mellowed, where he's talking about Ashlyn Shade having a big year. Some of his previous players have to watch that and go, where's the coach that MF'd me up and down the court or said, random things to me that knew to get me to where I need to be? But he hasn't lost his edge. It's just different. And if you're a player like Olivia, this could be your last chance to be really coached by the greatest to ever do it. Because let's face it, all the other names I'm going to mention are all either great to good coaches in their own right. But there's never been a better coach in the game than Geno Auriemma, period. So that should be the end of the program, right? 3 minutes in, see you later. Geno's the best to ever do it. She should definitely come here. I know that's most UConn fans' contention, but there's other coaches that can make a dent and have. And until recently, with the additions of Kaylee Heckel and Sarah Williams in the transfer portal, along with some nice recruits like Khalees Fisher, obviously Sarah Strong a couple years back, big dynamic group in her recruitment class with Morgan Shelley and Ali Zabel. But you still have other coaches that get after it on this recruiting trail. The next coach on this list that is in the mix for Olivia Vukosa's services is Kim Mulkey. She's, to me, the Southern version of Geno in so many ways. What you see is what you get. She really hasn't lost her edge. She's fiery, honest, absolutely relentless. She's older, like Geno, which means and begs the same question, really. How much longer will she do this? But right now, her program isn't at full throttle. She lost out on Sarah Williams in the transfer portal to Geno. She definitely wants a big, as do all of these coaches. But I know that the rest of the group after Kim are using the age factor to talk about Geno and Kim Mulkey when it comes to Olivia Vukosa. They're using that against them. Hey, you're here for 4 years. Are you only going to get 2 or 3 years of Geno or Kim? You get 4 years of me. But, huge NIL deals at LSU between, the type of exposure you get. I mean, there's like a docuseries on LSU with that Shaq has produced that has why am I blanking on her name? Plays for the Chicago Sky in the WNBA. God, I can think of Flau'jae Johnson, but I can't think of this is where having that stroke a few years back really kind of messes with my brain, where I know this is this player's name, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. And the more I stall, the more I remember it's Angel Reese, right? But listen, love them or hate them, whatever. That's not the point. The point is, even though an old guy like me forgets, Angel Reese is everywhere. She had like a McDonald's deal. Like, look, if you're Olivia Vukosa and that's part of your want, that you want to be a brand, then LSU is definitely going to be a formidable opponent in this. And then as we go forward, you look at Dawn Staley. She's the modern face of the women's game from the coaching perspective. She's built South Carolina into the standard in the SEC, and up until last year, really the country. Back-to-back title runs, elite player relationships and elite player development, the cultural relevance like no other coach in the sport. She's real, she's authentic, and she connects. If Geno built the house, Dawn redecorated it in her own image and made it cooler in the process, depending on who you talk to. I think Dawn is great for the women's game because she's everything that Geno's not, but they're a lot closer in who they are as people and who they are as coaches than I think people realize. She is absolutely every bit of the same firebrand. She played at a high level, and now she's coached at a high level. She's absolutely in the mix for this. Then I feel like there's a little bit of a drop-off, a tiny one, with Vic Schaefer at Texas. This guy's been in the trenches. He's been a women's coach since 1990, built Mississippi State from the ground up, beat Geno in 2016, lost a heartbreaker to Kim Mulkey in the title game, and then the next year had his team better and back in the Final Four, only to lose on Arika Ogunbowale's dagger 3 late. He's kind of been snake bitten a few times in that respect, but the man can flat out coach. Was in the Final Four last year with Texas. His players grind. Definitely a good spot. He develops players, and Texas with the resources and the recruiting power that he probably never had before being at, Hookham. He's in position to take that next leap, and a get like Olivia Vukosa is absolutely what they need at Texas. And I think they're in the mix a lot more than people give them credit for. And we're going to get into the campuses and kind of the culture of all that. Having Austin as a backdrop is absolutely a huge recruiting tool. I mean, if you get someone on campus and then everything is equal and you start to look around, I don't know if there's a better place to live or to, get better as a player than Austin, Texas. Really to do anything. Finally, Kevin McGuff at Ohio State, the youngest of the group, I believe, by just a couple years. He's solid. He's been there for 13 years. His teams are always competitive. He's had success, especially developing guards, but he hasn't broken through that Final Four barrier, which to me is probably the biggest stain on his coaching career because, we just talked about Coach Calhoun had written his book, More Than a Game, with Dom Amore. Check out that QR code. But the reason why I bring up Coach is because, there was a moniker that was probably unfair that he couldn't get to a Final Four. It's a little different in the women's game. To me, he's never been to the Final Four, but he's also only been to an Elite Eight. And getting to a Final Four in the women's game is essentially like getting to the second weekend of the men's game, at least over time. Now, more so, getting to at least a Sweet 16 is, that's a little tougher to do because the competition has gotten better. But if you're a top coach and you're not getting to the Elite Eight Final Four almost every year, it's a down year. Let's face it. So Ohio State is definitely putting a little more emphasis on their women's game, but he's not yet in the same class as Geno, Mulkey, Staley, or really even Vic Schaefer. So pure coaching, Geno is obviously, there's no one that comes close to him overall. Dawn Staley has the momentum to supplant him when Geno retires. Mulkey's in the Geno class in the respect of the type of coach she is, doesn't have the same amount of wins, but she's won everywhere, LSU, Baylor, etc. Vic Schaefer, same thing, grit, culture, has been to, it's been a runner-up twice, and McGuff has the stability and the momentum of Ohio State putting some funding into women's basketball, probably for the first time in their career as an athletic department. So it's really not a one-horse race. It's kind of a chessboard of some elite coaches, some more elite than others. And obviously, you really are picking, which apple is the shiniest. You know what I mean? Like, if you ever looked at a piece of fruit and you're like, that one's got a little bit of a nick in it, whatever. I'm going to, wash it, and that one looks shinier. They all probably taste the same. But the reality is you're going to go with what's most comfortable for you. And for Olivia, I think it really comes down to a few factors. We're going to get into this campus factor coming up after the break. We're going to talk about kind of the rankings of that. And if you're a UConn fan, I'm not crapping all over Storrs. I'm just basing it off of everything that is involved in choosing a school, and the surroundings. And in this list, UConn does not rank number one, probably for the first time in a long time in terms of women's basketball recruiting. We're going to talk about that after the break. All right, we're back on the Hoops Cap, talking Olivia Vukosa and her decision, which should be coming soon, on where she will be going next year. All right, so I'm going to preface this, UConn fans. This is in no ways I'm not downplaying UConn's campus. I was there multiple times last year. It is a beautiful, beautiful campus. They're constantly doing great things with it. It's a great place to learn. It's a great place to go and play basketball. I'm talking about everything around the cities that these schools are in. Okay. So for number one on this list, Texas. Austin is in a league of its own. There's a huge gap between Austin and everybody else. It's one of the best cities in America, period. Great weather, incredible food, live music, major media markets not too far, endless NIL potential. Texas has become a destination. And for someone like Vic Schaefer, who literally built Mississippi State and has had a great women's basketball career, he has every possible advantage to build a legit national title contender. And getting a player like Olivia Vukosa would absolutely match what Austin is. If you're thinking lifestyle, if you're thinking exposure, if you're thinking resources to NIL and to countless other opportunities, Texas is the clear number one as far as campus goes. Number two, I'm going to go South Carolina and Columbia. It's a very focused place. It's a small little college town. It's full of charm. It's beautiful. I've been there many times. Great weather, great people, close to beaches. It's just enough to do without it being overwhelming. It's a focused environment. And I know South Carolina is crazed with football and other things, but you don't really get that sense that it's South Carolina football and, oh, hey, that's really cute that you play basketball. I know they're in the SEC, so that kind of maybe sounds a little antithetical, but I'm telling you, it just doesn't. There's a vibe you get on campus that they really are hoops obsessed with the Gamecocks, and that obviously is credit to Dawn and her staff. And it just fits her personality so well. Competitive, locked in, full of pride and energy, but it's not a place where it's like hoops is an afterthought. And one could say Texas is, and when it comes to men's and women's basketball, that could be a detriment. But the reason why I put them one is because Austin is it's great. Austin is just an incredible city. Of all the places here, if you ask me which city you'd want to live in, I mean, second to none to be Austin, Texas. LSU, number 3 on the list. Baton Rouge is similar to Columbia, Southern, proud, completely invested in women's basketball. A little bit more football obsessed in my assessment. It's loaded with opportunity. Mentioned the Angel Reese documentary, Lajay Johnson, their careers and getting NIL deals through Shaquille O'Neal's ability and his business contacts. There's celebrity energy. There's serious financial backing. You're getting actually brighter lights in LSU in terms of the NIL and kind of what they're expecting, but you're definitely getting the same national exposure and resources that matter. But it's not, it's Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It's just not as culturally significant, if you will, than either Columbia or, and I even was going to put Storrs ahead of LSU, but I think that there's an edge because of the Shaquille O'Neal angle, the Hulu series with Angel Reese. So when I say campuses, I'm interlocking a lot of different things with NIL and the opportunities outside of basketball. Okay. Number 4 on the list is UConn. Storrs is, they've done wonders with Storrs. Tiny town, massive tradition. It's been transformed. When I was a kid and would go up there, randomly or for basketball, I think there wasn't a camp there when I was a kid. They actually had one at Southington High School with Steve Peichel. That's how old I am. But they've done so much with it. It's like this sleepy little town. And now it's this mini basketball city built around one thing: winning. It's the reason why they call it the basketball capital of the world. It's the reason why we've kind of reprocessed that into the Hoops Capital or Hoops Cap Pod, or rebranded it. So there's not a ton to do outside of basketball, but if your dream is to become elite, this is the perfect environment. You're surrounded by excellence every day. You're walking in the same halls as legends, Maya Moore, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, amongst others. And if this is your last shot to play for Geno Auriemma, that alone puts UConn high on anyone's priority list. But as far as just ranking NIL opportunities, the ability to kind of be in the cultural zeitgeist, if you will, that's why UConn is below the rest here. But then 5, I put Ohio State because if there was ever a hoops not obsessed where it's kind of like, oh, we're good in basketball, cool, but they don't care as much. It's a great school. It's a different vibe. Columbus is a fun city. I was there on business a couple years back. Surprisingly, it's actually a really nice little town. Great food options, great facilities. But compared to the SEC schools that I mentioned, and then UConn's winning tradition, it just doesn't have that same vibe for women's basketball. It's not bad. It's just different. The weather's colder. Like, just think about it from a perspective of if you're in Storrs. Like, I was up there for the St. John's game last year where they lost on the men's side. But when I went up there, I had to walk from Ted's, I think that we're doing pre-show to Gamble. And as cold as it was in Storrs that day, it's like 10 times colder at Ohio State. So if we're talking about just on that alone, it's below Storrs. Like, if you're in Ohio in the winter, it sucks. I'm sorry. It just does. And also the atmosphere feels, we're a football town. We're a football obsessed city, as they should be. National champion. They're number 1 in the country right now. But it's like, oh, you play basketball. That's cute. Like, Kevin McGuff is a solid coach. He's been there for 13 years, never made a Final Four. And as I mentioned, in women's basketball terms, that's like a men's coach not making the Sweet 16. So less so now, but 13 years ago, that's pretty interesting. Couldn't make one Final Four run in that time. And now it's even tougher. So you kind of absolutely need a girl like Olivia Vukosa. But that kind of desperation leads to, you can smell it. You know what I mean? Like, if someone's calling you for a sale and it's the end of the month, they get desperate. It's like, and they just kind of show their hand too much. So the program's investing more now. It's still a tier below the others. So what does that all lead to? I think the decision. And I'll go back to an interview I did with EJ Era before he joined our network. And this is what he had to say about Olivia Vukosa and where she's going to be.
I might just want to give you an exclusive right now.
Please.
And the first time I've ever made a bold prediction like this online or posted it. I think they are going to land Olivia Vukosa.
Really?
The big out of Christ the King. I am willing to bet that they are going to land her. which would be just monumental. She's a 6'4", 6'5".
Yep.
Again, international experience, FIBA ball. She's very good.
So that's our own EJ Arrow on Target. Get it wherever you get your podcasts, on Apple, Spotify. Follow him on all of his socials, and all of the great interviews he's done on our program, including one with Mackenzie. I can't think of her last name. I'm terrible again. Brain. I think she went to Iowa. But anyway, the whole point is that EJ's plugged in. And I know this is a few months back, so a lot of things can change on the recruiting trail. I do think that she ultimately is going to pick UConn when it comes down to it. Coaching edge UConn, lifestyle environment Texas, NIL opportunity and exposure probably Texas, LSU, South Carolina. Consistency and legacy. I think you go consistency, South Carolina, legacy, UConn. But when it comes down to it, as EJ said a few months back, I feel like it's UConn's recruitment to lose. So Olivia Vukosa has a chance to play for Geno Auriemma, maybe his final great class. The mellowed, evolved version of Geno still knows how to win. There's something poetic about one more star joining the dynasty before he rides off into the sunset. So when the dust settles, my prediction is Olivia Vukosa commits to UConn. And I know that's, probably anticlimactic, because did you think I was going to tell you that she's going to Texas? Although if I had said, and I'm going to bring this up because it's important. All of these lists, whether it's women's basketball or men's basketball, here's my top 5, right? And it's the names UConn, LSU, South Carolina, Texas, Ohio State. Let me tell you, I think Ohio State has no shot. Some of the names that are on this list are done not by Olivia. I'm not singling her recruitment. I'm saying overall in the recruitment game, using it as an example. When you see a school either that has no business being in that realm, like Ohio State, or you see a school that really isn't going hard after a recruit, but they offered and they really haven't gotten deep into negotiations, but they're still on the list because it looks better. It just does. It happens on the men's and women's side all the time. So you're always going to put LSU, UConn, South Carolina if you're on the women's side. On the men's side, sometimes the list is Kentucky, Duke, UConn. Who am I missing? Kansas. You put those names up, and the coaches from Kansas, from Duke, from UConn, et cetera, LSU, South Carolina, they're not going to say, hey, we're not really, because they don't want to embarrass the kid, right? And this has nothing to do with Olivia's recruitment, but it's just always tread lightly when you're like, oh, we made the list. Yeah, all of that is very true. But when you really drill down and you start to kind of, do a little research on and talk to folks in this industry, it's a little less than a top 5. Let's put it that way. So for me, the reality is the 3 that are really in play are UConn, South Carolina, Texas. It's really 4 in LSU. You got to go UConn here. And obviously for the reasons that we laid out, wherever Olivia goes, we're going to root for her. I know that sounds weird if she goes to South Carolina or LSU or a team that we play on a regular basis. She's going to make a huge impact, and she's a great kid. The way EJ described her in that episode a few months back is that she is an absolute killer on the court and a great person off it. It's exactly who you want to lead your program or to come in and have that mentality. So no matter what Olivia does, I will be for sure rooting for her. Wish her the best no matter what. I do think she's going to be in Storrs, and I'll be covering her on a regular basis. Remember, hit that QR code. Go check out More Than a Game. How the UConn basketball dynasty was built on a culture of caring by Jim Calhoun and the great Dom Amore. Go check that out. The QR code is up here in this top left corner for you to go and just get your Amazon, get it sent to you. Probably get it by tomorrow if you got Prime, right? That's all for me today on the Hoopscat Pod. Really appreciate you joining in. As always, go Huskies.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Yeah. UConn, baby.